A Birthing Pod
Wow.
combo deck. Let's see if he's got any auto kills in there.
Looks
Nick Fit-like,
like,
perhaps?
Yeah, I see an Academy Rector.
Yeah, Nick Fit.
And yeah, this is a really interesting deck. He's using Birthing Pod, going up the chain with really just high value creatures. And what do we have over there?
On the other side of the table, Hypergenesis combo. With, you can see as we look in play, Veteran Explorers marching on in to deal damage. On the other side of the table, Michael Belfatto with Hypergenesis. It looks like a Leyline of Sanctity in play.
So that Leyline of Sanctity could be important with that Liliana's ability being target player sacrifices a creature. He's not going to be able to make Michael sacrifice any of the potentially giant creatures that he brings into play with a Hypergenesis. And we see Justin here with a Surgical Extraction, 2 Surgical Extractions, and an Innocent Blood in hand. Just coming in again with those Veteran Explorers. And thinking about ticking Liliana up, he does.
Discard Surgical Extraction, it looks like. Yep, Surgical goes to the graveyard.
And even with that Leyline of Sanctity in play, the Surgical Extractions can still target the cards in Michael's graveyard, so they are still effective. We'll see a Fetch Land and Sacrifice from Michael. Tropical Island, and another Tropical Island coming out. And we haven't seen Michael's hand, but this is a deck that can really just... oh, and there we see one of the main cards of the deck, Shardless Agent, a 3-mana Cascade spell that's going to look to hit the 0-mana Hypergenesis, which allows both players to put pretty much all the permanents that they want to from their hand into play, except Planeswalkers. And Michael's going to be looking to drop very scary things into play. Just going down the list, we see Progenitus, Angel of Despair, Emrakul, and Gristlebrand. More interesting things in his sideboard. He does hit that Hypergenesis, and we'll see what he can get into play.
Now they're going to take turns. Progenitus is the first.
And Justin with a Surgical Extraction and Innocent Blood in hand is not going to put anything into play.
Gristlebrand is the next.
Gristlebrand and
Angel of Despair, and Justin Haynes scoops it on up. Hypergenesis taking down Justin Haynes in game 2. They go to a game 3. Justin Haynes, that Leyline, a real problem for a lot of his effects that he has, whether it's Inquisition of Kozilek, Cabal Therapy. He doesn't want to be Cabal Therapying himself usually, unless he's using that Cabal Therapy to as the alternate cost for the sacrifice effect from the graveyard, for like Academy Rector finding, say, Pernicious Deed to blow up things. His other possible targets with Academy Rector is Oblivion Ring, which is a really solid potential answer to one threat.
He's also got a Recurring Nightmare in here, which can probably do some pretty crazy stuff with Revelark, Eternal Witness. He's even got a Thragtusk that we're not sure he kept in, but it was at least in his main deck. And yeah, you saw, like Adrian said, you saw the Leyline doing good work there. Besides even those discard spells, Liliana wasn't able to activate her -2 to make Michael sacrifice any of those large creatures. If Michael had had maybe 1 or 2 less creatures, the Innocent Blood, the Liliana, if he didn't have the Leyline, might have gotten Justin out of that really sort of unfair combo situation with generally more fair cards. So
yeah, let's pretend for the sake of argument that there was not the Angel of Despair in Michael Belfatto's hand, and it was just, let's say, the Progenitus and that Gristlebrand. Then on Justin Haynes' turn, he could activate the Liliana -2 and use his Innocent Blood to get rid of both of Michael Belfatto's creatures. And then at that point, there would actually be a game still happening, even if Michael Belfatto drew 7 cards with the Gristlebrand.
yeah, and you know, losing 7 life in the process, and he'd already taken quite a few damage from those Veteran Explorers. And we'll see players getting ready for their opening hands. Who do you think is favored in this matchup after sideboard?
I think Michael Belfatto is favored, period, the entire way, no stop.
Okay. I think I'd agree with that. I mean, you know, Justin has some discard, but those Leyline of Sanctity are going to really cause a problem. Justin's Abrupt Decay's not going to do anything against the forecasting cost Leyline of Sanctity, even if it costs 0 if you have it in your opening hand.
Yeah. Now, one of the cards that Justin Haynes is hoping to get in his opening hand is definitely Oblivion Ring. One of the awesome things about Oblivion Ring, for a lot of cards, the Hypergenesis chain, one of the problems with trying to fight against it is, unfortunately for you, you can't do cards like Clone to copy and get rid of, because he does have Phyrexian Metamorph, to copy and get rid of cards coming into play. Oh, Leyline, turn 0. To copy and get rid of Legends. But if you have a delay effect, like a trigger from Oblivion Ring, it can come into play and get rid of all of those cards, including, you know, getting rid... Oh, and we got turn 1, land versus...
Land versus land, we see in Justin's hand just a couple lands, an Abrupt Decay, and a Duress. So Duress isn't going to be able to target Michael because of that Leyline. Abrupt Decay is not going to be able to take care of that Leyline. A situation that we just talked about. Justin essentially has a couple of lands and a couple of cards that, as far as we can tell right now, do nothing.
Leyline of Sanctity, a card that I could not believe was printed when it was printed. You know, a lot of people really enjoyed the full casting cost versions of this spell before, so...
Yeah, previously printed as a card called Ivory Mask.
That's right. Ivory Mask has won a Pro Tour in the hands of Bob Maher at Pro Tour Chicago 2000.
Yep. Bob Maher, who we may see today in the form of Dark Confidant, a very popular legacy card.
I predict Dark Confidant will make an appearance this weekend on the camera. Dark Confidant is so nicknamed Bob because when Bob won the Magic Invitational, it was the invitational card he designed and now bears his likeness.
Yep. You see Michael paying 2 mana. Looks like he has a Spirit Guide, Elvish Spirit Guide, which he can remove from his hand to produce a green mana. He has a Force of Will. If he does have a Cascade card, we could see a...
Show and Tell works.
Or just a Show and Tell.
Okay, let's figure out what we're choosing.
I think Green Sun Zenith drawn by Justin, which he cannot put into play with Show and Tell. I think we'll just see...
He doesn't even bother looking. Huh. Michael Belfatto wants us all to know he really had it.
Yep, and we see a Gristle Brand come down and finish that match up.
That was a quick Game 3. Hypergenesis, one of those decks that I know I was really impressed by at the Star City Games Open Series event in Madison, Wisconsin, where I'm from.